boys and girls, today's learning target is I can give next steps about someone's writing by using a revising checklist. Last week, we wrote a paragraph about ways to stay safe from COVID 19. Today, we are going to revise our friend's work by using a revising checklist. So, just like the learning target says, we are now in revising. Revising is when we add sentences, add more details to make our writing clear, take away details that aren't important, change sentences around so that it's organized. We don't really spend too much time on spelling during revising. Okay, we're not really thinking about spelling or punctuation. That comes in later, in the next step, in editing. So today we're going to be revising. So in the learning target, it says we're going to be using a revising checklist. So a revising checklist is a checklist that just says everything we should have in our writing, and then it lets us know if we're missing something. That's going to be our next step. So in this revising checklist for our paragraphs, this is what I'm looking for. I have a topic sentence as the first sentence. I have 2 to 3 details about my topic. I use transition words to go from one detail to the next. I have a concluding sentence. Okay? If you have all of those things, then you're ready to go to editing. But I'm gonna show you how to do this with my paragraph, and then we're gonna do it with some of our friends' paragraphs. So this was my paragraph. It was a very fancy paragraph. Let me fix this here. And we are going to use the revising checklist to show that I have all these things. So I have a topic sentence as the first sentence. Let's read it. If you have been in contact with someone that has COVID, then you might want to get tested because COVID-19 spreads easily from person to person. Yeah, that's my topic sentence. I know that I am going to be using I know that I'm going to be talking about ways that COVID-19 spreads. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just color this a different color. I'm going to highlight it a different color just so that it proves that I have one. So that's my topic sentence. And I'm going to go ahead and write and check off in my checklist that I have a topic sentence because I see it there. So good. I don't need to work on that. I don't need to revise that. The next thing says I have 2 to 3 details about my topic. So let's see. For example, it spreads through contact with the person that has the virus. That's one detail. Also, it spreads by touching an infected droplet that is on a surface and then touching your face. That's another detail. Last but not least, the infected person does not need to have symptoms of COVID-19. That's my third detail. So I do have details and they're in the middle of the paragraph where they should be. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check for that. And I'm just going to highlight all the details a different color just so that we're clear of that I have all the details. So I'm just going to highlight my details yellow. Okay. Now, the next thing says I use transition words to go from one details to the next. So I already went and I highlighted, I'm going to underline some of the transition words. So I use, for example, I use also, I use last but not least, and I use to summarize. So those are all transition words. So I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check. The last thing says, I have a concluding sentence. So let's see, that's the last sentence. To summarize, and that transition word gives me a clue that it's the concluding sentence. I'm going to summarize it. I'm going to put it all together. These are the reasons why COVID-19 spreads easily. Yes, I once again just wrap the whole paragraph and tell you what the main idea of my paragraph was. So I'm going to go ahead and just highlight that a different color. I'm going to do red. So this is my hamburger paragraph. It's in order. It has everything that my revision checklist asks us for. So really, I don't, in this For this, I would be ready to go to editing because I have all of these things. I don't need to revise unless I wanted to. Okay, so now I'm going to show you an example of some of the ones that I read from your Otis work. So I read this one. Let me make it a little bigger. Ways we can stay safe from COVID-19. So I know that's a topic sentence. That student is going to talk about ways to stay safe from COVID-19. I probably would revise that sentence. I would say there are many ways we can stay safe from COVID-19 because I don't really think you start a sentence with saying ways we can stay safe from COVID-19. That sounds more like a title of a book. So I would revise that, but either or for this checklist, this student does have a topic sentence that they can work with. So we're going to put a check. First, always wear a mask outside, maybe inside too, because someone may have COVID 19. That's the first detail. Also, wear gloves if you need to touch something that has the infected or a virus. That's the second detail. Finally, always hand sanitize your hands. That's the third detail. And it's all in the middle of the paragraph. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check. This student has three details. The last thing is I use transition words to go from one details to the next. So I'm going to go ahead and underline what transition words I see that goes from one detail to the next. So I see first, that lets me know it's going to be the first detail. I see also, they're giving us another detail. I see finally, that's giving us another detail. So yes, this person does use transition words and they use them correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and put a check. I have a concluding sentence. Let's see their last sentence. Those are many ways to stay safe. Yes, they do. They have the last sentence that wraps it all together. So this student would be ready for editing, right? This person can edit. Now, this is an example of, I'm going to use our revising checklist again. Uh, so this is an example of another. This is an example of another paragraph. Right away, I noticed this does not look like a paragraph. And boys and girls, I saw a lot of you wrote things like this on your independent work. And I was like, wait, first, this does not look like a paragraph. We know a paragraph should have at least four sentences and and even five for this one. So right away, this just looks like two sentences. But let's see. They write, keep your hands clean, wash your hands. Do they have a topic sentence? No, they don't tell us what this is going to be about. So I'm going to go ahead and not put a check. The next thing, I have 2 to 3 details about my topic. They did say keep your hands clean and wash your hands. I would say those are the same detail. That's only really one detail you're saying, which is clean your hands. That's really it. Wash your hands. So this person needs more details. I use transition words. No, this person does not use transition words. I have a concluding sentence. This student does not have a concluding sentence. So this student is almost, I would say the student has at least one really good detail, right? They have at least one really good detail, but they really need to go back and fix that whole entire thing and make it a paragraph. So if I had to give this student next steps, I would say add, add a topic sentence. it would be something like, since um, there are many ways to stay safe from COVID-19, right? I would add something like that. Number two, add transition words. So add, you can say, you can look at our chart here. It looks like this. First, to start, to begin, also. So an example this student can say is first, first. I would say add at least one more detail telling us how to stay safe. And finally, they need a concluding sentence. So remember, boys and girls, a lot of you are writing one or two sentences in your homework, and those are not paragraphs. So you're not doing the assignment correctly, okay? And that's why I wanted to do this today, so you can go back and really, the next time I ask you to write a paragraph, which is coming very soon, you're going to be able to know exactly what you have to do. So really quickly, based on the revising checklist, what is one next step for this writer? What should they revise to make their writing better? So I already gave you some next steps. So what do you think? Go back and just tell me what really stands out for this writer right here. What would be some next steps? Okay, you can pause the video and share out. Your teacher can pause the video and share out. You can write in the chat box, or if you're doing this completely independently, you can go ahead and start sharing with someone in your house, maybe a sibling or a family member. Do you know what to do when you get on Otis? Oh, actually, today you learned how to use a revising checklist to read work and see what you should revise or change to make better. In Otis today, you will be using a checklist to find a next step for our writing. So do you know what to do when you get on Otis? You're going to be getting an example of a student's paragraph, and you're going to go through the steps and let me know what you think that student's next step is by using the revising checklist. If you are unsure what to do, watch the video again and pause it to make sure you understand. Ask a teacher to repeat directions, try it out on your own, and wait for feedback from your teacher. Good luck!